DND number 10, Circle of Life in Jesus' Name, Part 2, Chapter 6. Taylor changed clothes quickly, grabbed her bag and her purse. She pulled out her phone and read Gabe's text. Hey, Tay, great game. We had a big watch party at my house. I'm so proud of you. I know you're going to go eat with the fam at the Casa Latina, but can you give me a quick call first? Looking forward to hearing your voice. Love you. She immediately texted back. Hey, Gabe. Yes, of course, I'll call. Give me a second so I can find private place for a minute. Love you too. Blowing kiss emoji. Deciding there was no private place once she left the locker room and not wanting to wait until after dinner, she sat down on a bench and placed the call. Well, that was fast, Gabe said as he answered. Well, I decided to call right now while I'm back here in the locker room because once I go out there, I'll be surrounded by people until I get home, and I didn't want to wait that long. Well, I'm glad you didn't wait, baby, because I really needed to hear your voice. Me too. I needed to hear your voice, Gabe chuckled. Tay, you were freaking awesome today. I am so proud of you. No one would ever know that you just started playing volleyball a few months ago. Thanks, Gabe. Coming from you, that means a lot. I'm a fast learner, though, so no big deal. Well, it is a big deal. You were the star of the team. Hardly, but I do have a good serve, huh? You have an amazing serve. You were great, and your whole team was great, and they played well, and they played hard, and I'm really proud of you all. Tell them I said so. Taylor giggled. I will. That will make them all happy to know that the Gabe Tanner thinks they did well. Whatever. Hold on a minute. Everyone here wants me to put you on speaker. He did and held the phone up. Okay, go ahead. Great game, Taylor. Congratulations. Taylor laughed. Thanks, everybody. I miss you guys. We miss you, especially Gabe. Everyone laughed, and Gabe took it off speaker, and that's enough of that. How are you feeling, Gabe? Stronger every day. So, who's the blonde quarterback dude? Oh, I guess you saw him on the live stream. He's a guy in my class. He started talking to me after practice the other day. Well, that's cool, but he put his hands on you a lot. Gabe Tanner, are you jealous? I didn't think I would be, but when I saw him pick you up and spin you around like after the game, it kind of bothered me. Well, believe me, you have nothing to worry about. He and a bunch of guys on the football team came in from their practice and watched us, just like you said you used to do. Yep, and for the reason I said, too. I thought about that. So, you promised to go see his game? No, I didn't promise. I told him I might come, and I actually might. Some of the girls on the team are going and want me to come along. They sort of hinted that it would show I have school spirit, so I think I am going to go because I don't want people thinking that I don't care about our school. Well, since when do you care what people think? Well, I guess I really don't, but I actually do want my school to do well, so I do have school spirit, and I'm interested in learning about football. Gabe sighed. Yeah, but I was supposed to be the one to take you to your first game. Oh, yeah. Well, then, I won't go. No, I want you to go. Pay attention. Write down all your questions. It'll be fun to hear the game from your perspective. Maybe you can record it so we can go over it together. Oh, that'll be fun. Tay, don't trust this guy. I got a bad feeling about him. Gabe, I love you, and only you. Oh, I believe you. I'm not talking about that. The guy doesn't seem, right. Hey, I'm not as innocent as you think. I know he has ulterior motives. Look at the way he hijacked the interview with Isla. Not that I care about that. If he needs his 15 seconds of fame, so be it. You are so smart. Ah, Taylor, I miss you. I miss you too. Please hurry back. I need you to be right here next to me. Me too. I need you to be next to me. Well, go have dinner and call me late if you want. I just might do that. I love you, Gabriel Tanner. I love you, Taylor Keno. Taylor ended the call and rushed out to her family. Almost everyone was gone. It's about time, young Eric said as she finally emerged. I was about to come looking for you. Sorry, guys. Gabe wanted me to call him. Taylor explained as she knelt down and held her arms open. Hello, my kiddos, she said as the 4 little ones came running to her. She hugged them fiercely and kissed their cheeks and tickled Manny. Who's hungry? I am, Manny said. Me too, Jordan said. Taylor rose. Hey, Jordan, it's nice to see you again. You too. Girl, you killed it out there today. 3 told me you just started playing a few months ago. I couldn't believe it. You were solid. Aw, thanks, Jordan. Who is 3? She calls me 3, as in the third, young Eric explained. Oh, 3. I like it. Okay, well, I've dismissed our security, so let's get going, Eric said. The children are hungry. Taylor nodded at her grandfather. They all started out, but once outside the gym, Taylor stopped. I got to go real quick. I'll be right back. She started toward the bathroom. I'll go with you, Jordan said. Eric and I are going to go on ahead, Shelley said. We'll see you there. Us too, Cam said as he and Jeffy headed out. So I can't wait to see one of your games, Jordan, Taylor said as she emerged from the stall and stood at the sink. Taylor came out of her stall. My season doesn't start until February, but you've won me over. I'm going to come to all of your games from here on out unless I have practice. You've made me a fan. Taylor giggled. Yay, I have a fan. You have more than one fan, silly girl. You know you're absolutely gorgeous, right? Taylor shrugged. You are too. I don't know about that, but she moved behind Taylor as she started out. I mean, just look at this hair. It's so beautiful. Taylor's mind flashed and she gasped. Her eyes rolled into the back of her head and she passed totally out. Jordan, realizing she was going down, grabbed her. Help! She cried loudly as she lowered Taylor to the restroom floor, trying to keep her from hitting her head. Young Eric and his father came bursting in. What happened? Ricky asked as he knelt down and took his daughter in his arms. I don't know. She just passed out. Ricky held her close and Taylor moaned and her eyes blinked open. Hey, baby girl, I've got you. What happened, Taylor? She whimpered. Daddy, Daddy, she cried. I need you to calm down and tell me what happened. Are you sick? She shook her head. No, she hiccuped. No, Daddy. This is the place. And the man who put the needle in my neck, he was right behind me, and he said my hair was beautiful, just like Jordan said. Just like Jordan just said, and it all came back in a rush, and I guess I fainted. Ricky nodded. Okay, baby girl, I understand. I'm sorry. I didn't think about this being the place where it happened. I should have been more aware. I didn't think about it either, she said, her teeth chattering. Ricky held her tight. Her entire body was trembling. He looked around and nodded at young Eric and then spoke in Korean, reminding him of all that had occurred in the restroom just a few weeks ago and telling him that obviously she needed some counseling and asked young Eric to help lay his hands on her. Young Eric spoke back in Korean to his father and they immediately lay hands on her head and prayed over her, asking for healing and peace. Taylor's trembling slowed almost immediately, and her eyes closed, and she relaxed. He lifted her off the cold tile floor and carried her out and sat her on a bench, cradling her in his arms. Bree knelt in front of them, listening as Ricky explained the situation. Oh, sweetheart, that was scary, huh? Bree said as she ran her hand softly over her daughter's face. Taylor sighed. I'm sorry. I had no idea I would react like that. She sat up, looking up into her father's calm eyes. Thank you, Daddy. Thank you, Eric, for praying over me. I feel much better now. He squeezed her hard. I'm glad you feel better. Do you want to just go on home? She sat up straighter. No, I'm hungry. Let's go eat. Young Eric laughed. I guess you really do feel better. Taylor stood up and got her bearings and smiled at Jordan. Thank you, Jordan. I know you caught me and kept me from hitting my head on that hard floor. Well, that was no big deal, Jordan said. It was the least I could do, since apparently it was my words that caused the problem in the first place. It wasn't your words, young Eric said quickly. I'll explain to you in the car. Come on, people, let's get to the restaurant. Out in the parking lot, Eric took Jordan's hand. The restaurant isn't far from here. Ride with me, and I'll bring you back to your car afterward. She agreed, and Eric held the door open for her as she slipped into his car. So, Jordan began almost immediately, tell me what that was all about. Well, you know there was an attempted kidnapping of my sister back a few weeks ago, and Gabe saved her. Yes, I was following, but I didn't realize it happened right here at her school. Yeah, they took her while she was in the restroom, apparently that very restroom. They put a needle in her neck and knocked her out. They put her in a wheelchair with a gray wig and a blanket and rolled her right past the security agent. Gabe went in the restroom to see what was taking her so long and realized that she'd been taken and chased down the van and killed the driver and front passenger, who, by the way, were trying to kill him. He saved her, so I guess she just had what Dad just called an enhanced memory. She's suffering from post-traumatic stress, obviously. And what language were you speaking with your father, and why? We were speaking Korean. He wanted to explain to me exactly what was wrong with her without her hearing what was being said, so she wouldn't have to relive it while he told me what was going on and make her feel any worse. So you speak 2 languages, but Taylor doesn't? He smiled. I speak 5 other languages, and Taylor only speaks 3, Spanish, French, and English. Jordan laughed. Only? That's very cool to speak 3 languages. What languages do you speak? Korean, Spanish, French, Hawaiian, Chinese, or actually Mandarin, which is a form of Chinese. Wow, impressive. And English, so you speak 6. Well, not too impressive, since my father's been teaching us since we were little, so it's kind of second nature to us. Well, why didn't he teach Taylor Hawaiian and Korean and Mandarin? Well, he tried to, but she's headstrong and didn't want anything to do with it, so he allowed her to make that decision. Every time I speak to you, your family gets more and more interesting. My family? She smiled. Oh, you too, 3. You are extremely interesting. He grinned. You are too, Jordan. And by the way, thanks for catching Taylor. If you hadn't, we might be heading to get stitches somewhere instead of heading to the best Mexican restaurant around. No prob. And why are they the best? Well, besides the food being awesome, it's all organic, non-GMO, all natural, all healthy, so you can eat your fill and not feel like you've pigged out on junk food. Well, that sounds great because I'm hungry and I intend to pig out. See, that's interesting. A beautiful girl who likes to eat. Jordan grinned. Gotta fuel up, right? Right, and here we are. They pulled up to a strip mall where the Casa Latina occupied at least a third of the space. Also in the mall was an ice cream parlor, a dance studio, a Thai food restaurant, a drugstore, and a mattress store. Jordan was surprised because it seemed so regular, and these very famous billionaires like to eat here. Eric turned off the car and just sat there. He looked at Jordan and smiled. She smiled back. When he didn't move, she asked, Is something wrong? No, I was just thinking. I guess I've missed you since last Saturday because it's very nice to just be sitting here with you. She smiled sweetly. Well, 3, to be honest, I think I've missed you too because I was very excited about seeing you today. You were? Yep, I couldn't decide what to wear or how to wear my hair, and usually I never even think about those things. My roommates had to step in and help. Jackie, right? She laughed. Good memory. Yes, Jackie and Colton. He frowned. You have a guy roommate? No, Colton is a girl. She always plays softball. She also plays softball. She's a trip. Her name sounds tough, but she's like ultra feminine. Fancy hair, fancy nails, clothes, shoes. These are her boots. Eric smiled. Well, they're nice boots. I'll tell her you said so. And I'll tell Jackie you remembered her name. They were all aflutter about me meeting you and your family, because of the famous thing. He nodded and sighed. Yes, I know. At first, they didn't even believe me. I had to show them pictures and videos that were posted on Gabe's website and on TeenSpotter. You didn't have any pics on your own phone? My phone was dead. Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, you were right next to me during Isla's interview today, but let's take a pic on your phone as a definite proof. She laughed and pulled out her phone. He leaned across the console, put his arm around her, and put his head against hers as she snapped the pic. He turned toward her, his eyes moving over her beautiful face. She had freckles, just a few, sprinkled over the bridge of her nose. His eyes lowered to her lips, which parted as she drew a breath. He wanted to kiss her, but his head told him it was way too soon. He realized he was actually breathing heavy because his heart was beating so hard. He quickly pulled away as his parents pulled up beside them. Eric got out of the car and ran around to open her door, but she opened it herself. He offered his hand, and she took it, and he pulled her to her feet. She looked into his eyes, and he smiled. "Did I tell you that you look really nice today?" "I think you did. I know you like the boots," she said with a giggle. They waited for his parents and then followed them into the restaurant. "Signor Kino, Signora," the owner said immediately, addressing Ricky and Bree. "They are all the way back, as usual." Young Eric smiled and thanked the man as they passed him. They headed back to where his grandparents, young siblings, Jeffy and Cam, were already seated. When Eric asked why it took them so long to get to the restaurant, Ricky explained in Chinese. Jordan leaned close to young Eric. "So, everyone but Taylor speaks Korean?" He smiled at her. "No. First, he's speaking Mandarin right now." "Why?" "We always go back and forth, just switch it up, just to practice. Only Taylor, my mom, and grandmother don't understand what he's saying. But my mom knows what he's talking about, of course, and my grandfather will fill my grandmother in when he gets a chance." "Interesting. So Cam and Jeffy speak all 5 of the languages?" "No, actually, Cam and Jeffy speak more than 5. They speak like Russian, Chinese, Korean, Hawaiian, Arabic, Farsi, Spanish, French, and several more. Actually, I don't even know what all languages they speak. I think it's like 12. Wow. Well, Jeffy is just smart. Cam is special ops, a jet, which is a Meritech's version of like a Navy SEAL or a Green Beret. He's totally lethal. Does he go off on missions and stuff? Yes. He's actually usually gone a lot, but since Jeffy got pregnant, Jason has allowed him to work closer to home. 2 servers came and brought water and began taking orders. Eric watched Jordan as she perused the menu and ordered a large meal. He watched her as she conversed with the others at the table, talking about some great plays Taylor made and answering questions about her softball career. He watched her as she laughed at jokes directed toward him and his training so far. She interacted with his new little uncles and aunts. She seemed to fit into his life perfectly. But he was getting way too far ahead and had to tell himself to let things unfold naturally and just enjoy each moment. And he was brought quickly to the present moment when he felt Jordan's hand touch his leg. His stomach jumped, his heart beat faster. He looked down at her as she patted his thigh just above his knee. "You okay?" she asked. "You're awfully quiet." He smiled and covered her hand with his own and gave a squeeze. "I am great. Sometimes I like to just sit and watch." "Watch what?" He shrugged. "How people interact, the little nuances. For example, my dad just ran his knuckle over Taylor's cheek, probably letting her know that he's right there beside her and she's safe. And my grandmother seems to be thoroughly enjoying trying to get the little ones to eat their food. And my grandfather is watching my grandmother with so much love in his eyes, it makes me emotional. It makes me want what they have and what my own father and mother have. And then I looked over at Jeffy and Cam, and he has his hand on her belly, so I'm guessing the baby kicked. They are so madly in love, so that's what I was doing." Jordan looked up into his handsome face. "Wow, 3. You're deep." He laughed. "Sometimes." "So do Jeffy and Cam know what they're having?" "Yes." "Okay, so what is it?" "I don't know. They haven't told anyone yet." "When did they find out?" He smiled. "From the moment they conceived." "Ah, yes, right." "What are you 2 whispering about?" Bree asked. "Sorry, Mom. We didn't mean to be rude. We were talking about the baby and wondering if Jeffy was ever going to tell us what they're having." "Funny you should say that," Cam said, "because Jeffy and I were just thinking about doing exactly that." "Really?" everyone said at the same time. Jeffy smiled. "Yes, I think we're ready to tell."